Welcome back to another episode of Getting Personal. I'm here today with Chris, founder and CEO of SIKI. In their words, SIKI has built the world's first music streaming ecosystem that has the best interests of the artist and the fans at heart. How are you, Chris? And are
I'm
you
doing,
ready to get personal?
yeah, absolutely. No, I'm excited.
Nice. So I always love to start off by asking, who were you before Web3? Before SIKI, who was Chris?
So I was a couple different things. I worked some corporate stuff, but then before that, I was an artist myself. So I definitely did a lot of touring, different things like that. I was like a folk duo, me and one other person. And then I had another band, which was like, five people, a little bit bigger. So I've always been in music. I have a record label with my brother. We've definitely done a lot of, major records out of that, won some platinums and some Grammys and some different things like that. So, always been music related, but definitely then started doing more corporate things and like marketing and stuff like that and over New York City. But yeah, definitely music to the core for most stuff. Yeah.
So music has always been your life, like since you were very young.
Yeah. My father actually was also super into music, and he had like a recording studio in our basement. So even when we were like young, we would make like comedy songs and stuff and just play with all the, the boards and everything. So it's definitely been something that's always been around.
Nice, I love it. And how did it happen, the Web3 moment for you? How were you introduced to Web3? Yeah, how did that go about?
So really, it was my other partner, Jason Dowd. We were just hanging out one time, and we were talking about things, just talking about music, and then, he was showing me like, well, this was before the first initial NFT boom. He was like showing me on his phone. He was like, "Oh, these people, look, they're buying these images, and they were like weird images. I think it was on like Rarible or something." And I was like, "Wait, they're buying these?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "This is crazy." I was like, "Why would somebody buy it?" And then he started explaining to me like, "Well, this is the real use case that's like coming forward with all this stuff." And I thought that was interesting because like I've always wanted to make like something that was like a new music way, because there's so many errors and things like that. But it's like there's always these time periods where you go from like, radio to then it was like Spotify, right? So it's something big enough where there's a change where you're like, okay, something new can actually be put in here and it makes sense. Like whereas post like previously it would be like we're just competing with Spotify, and that's like, the main aspect of it. So, he really helped kind of show all these like cool new ways that we could do stuff. And I was like, oh, this could make this possible and this possible. So from there, it was just like, it was just exciting hearing all like finding all these solutions and stuff. So
And one thing led to the next, I guess, until the moment that SIKI was created. Can you tell me a little bit of the backstory, like from your personal experience of how SIKI came about,
yeah,
the
I mean,
origin story?
that was a big part of it. I brought in my other partner Nick. We were kind of talking about some things too. Obviously, I had a conversation with my brother, some other artists. It's funny, I had a couple artists that were actually in LA at the time, just staying at my house too, because they were like visiting for some stuff, like so they're doing sessions and everything. So I was talking to them randomly about some aspects of it too, like, well, what do you think about this? And just kind of feeling the whole situation out. And then, it came to like, oh, what are we going to name it? And then like, so I'm Greek, so I looked it up and it's musiki is how you say music. So I was like, that's cool. Let me just see Siki. And then like the Calibrarians, like some weird thing came up. Said they'll name somebody Siki because it means like to give more to others, even if it means losing some yourself. And I was like, oh, that's it. And then there's some weird names that means too, but I like to stick with those because it felt core. And then I was just like, go from there.
Yeah, well, you've actually answered the next question. I was going to ask you like where the name come from, or what it means, and tell us what a little bit. What is SIKI, like in a nutshell?
It's kind of like for a while we like to call it like this universal like engagement platform because it's a lot. But the thing is that with music and for musicians, like there's not really a place where you have all these tools that have been coming out. Like, live streaming, which is kind of newer, has way more tools than artists really have at their, disposal. And I say that because like, Twitch is more of a, like for video games, right? It's for like a different thing. Like they do some music there, but they also don't have the rights to use a lot of different music. And so we kind of mostly dove into the whole idea of like, let's provide all those tools into one place for artists to be able to do everything that they need and share whatever they need with the mix of Web3, even some Web2 things that kind of just make more sense.
And going back to your dad, you mentioned about you guys creating music in the basement. How do you explain SIKI to your dad or to someone outside of Web3?
Um, you know, a lot of people will just kind of like leave it really simple and just say like, it's a mix of like Twitch and Spotify. So it's like a DSP tied within a live streaming service. So that kind of like lets people understand it. But the thing is most of what we do is like, artists don't even know how it works. So on the back end with their royalties and how everything works, and they've never paid a royalty during live stream video ever, like YouTube, all that stuff. So if you play music, it doesn't actually pay anything. So it's more of like an experience of when you see it happen, you're like, oh, this is kind of what it does. So it's a little bit like, like otherwise I'm just explaining like intricacies, so.
Yeah, trying to keep it as simple as possible, I guess, and using those comparisons can really help. In your journey, like leading up to SIKI, or even now since it's been going on, who would you say has been the most inspiring and influential person on your Web3 journey that's impacted you?
Just like in general, or
Yeah, in general, it could be in general, or that's impacted, stuff that you guys have done at SIKI that have inspired something.
I mean, there's definitely been a lot of like different groups that have been helping do cool things and introducing us to new people, and even potentially opening other doors. We've got a couple partners. One guy, Ronnie Exley, he's come in and he like throws one of the biggest like metal festivals in the United States, over in Vegas. So he's got a lot of really cool things that he kind of brought in, and obviously he's helped with a lot of introductions as well. So there's definitely been a lot of different pieces. I mean, I will say like Elizabeth from Hello Future, she was really cool in like introducing us to everybody. Like when we first came in, we were like kind of like, where do we go from here? And she was like, oh, meet this person, this person, this person. Um, I'll say also Hedera itself. Like I remember when we were first starting, I just kind of DM'd them and I was like, hey, like I really want to make this, but I don't want to use Ethereum. Can you like show me some developers? And they're like, yep, here you go. And then those developers, they worked great. So it's like that saved us so much hassle of like, because everybody says they can do it, and then they try to learn on your dime, and then you're like, like you got to try to juggle that for a while. So they actually helped us cut a lot of time out too. So I think most of the community has been super supportive in helping in this process.
It just goes to show, right? Just send that DM. You just never know, right?
You never know, yeah.
All right, you mentioned Hello Future Live. You guys, did you have the stage there? Like you set something up, right, for that event? Tell me a little
Yeah,
bit about that. I'm curious.
yeah. We set up the stage. We brought in a bunch of artists that we knew were like, like awesome, just trying to get out there. And with the Hedera community, I usually tell a lot of them like, just try it, just send something out, watch it like travel, and watch everybody repost it. Like it's a really supportive community. So yeah, we just set up the stage, brought in a bunch of people, and it was a cool show. Definitely looking to do some more stuff coming up and kind of scale it a little bit, but that was fun. For the first one, I think it went really well.
Great. And talking a little bit about, the current market that we're in, especially like navigating the bear market as the CEO of SIKI, how what's been your biggest lesson, would you say, during these times?
So through the bear market, we kind of focus more as like, because we're like Web 2 and Web 3 in a way. Like there's like you're always kind of using Web 3, but you can look at it from a Web 2 perspective. So through the bear market, like most people are just like, they don't want to hear about NFTs. They want to hear about crypto so much. And then when it comes back around, it's funny because now that's all they want to talk about. So it's like you got to keep just kind of working on it. And we were just like, all right, let's just leave this over here, keep building it out. And then when it comes back, it's already all there. You know what I mean? So we've recently been speaking to more blockchains about more partnerships, which earlier that's nobody's really looking to do it yet, but we're definitely seeing it start to come back more now.
Where would you like to see yourself in 5 years?
Um, I guess with a product that's got really high user base, like that's kind of the main goal for me right at the moment.
And that could be like at that point we hopefully be talking, that we've got a part of the masses maybe, onboarded to Web3, but your focus is also very, you mentioned Web2 or Web 2.5, right? So you've got a crowd that could use the platform without necessarily using Web3 tech, is that right?
Yeah, like when you join, it's still free to listen to music. We did like onboard Dimmock, their whole catalog, and we spoke with Warner and we're speaking with other groups. So we're getting the Web 2 music that's they're not going to NFT things; they're just going to release it, and then we have the ones that are going to NFT it as well. So it's kind of like as a user, you can come in, just experience it, go to a live stream, do whatever it is, and then even like our token, for instance, it's kind of like Twitch bits. So it's like it just seems like a gamified currency, but it's actually still a crypto. We just haven't released it on any exchanges. We haven't really wanted to do any drops of our own because we don't want to make it like, oh, pay us, and then hopefully it goes up and it's there. Like, we'll do some things in the future for sure, but we want everybody to feel comfortable within the community and not like it's like a quick cash grab or anything. You know what I mean?
And playing the long game.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And back to you, like on a personal level, what's something that outside of music as well, because I know that you love music even outside of SIKI, right? But something else that you love in life outside of Web3?
Um, it's a tough one. Outside of music and um, I mean, I guess I like to like network and do all that other kind of stuff. Like I definitely go to like, a lot of events just to meet people and, see more things that can like intertwine with, I don't know, a bunch of different things. Um, yeah, I mean, gaming a bit. I'm definitely interested in a lot of different gaming projects that are also coming out and how we can like kind of intermingle those things. So yeah, I'd say
All right,
that.
you mentioned gaming. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's your favorite Hedera-based gaming project that's building
Um,
that?
I'm really excited for honestly the Hash Nuggets ones looks really cool that they're talking about. We might do a little like gaming competition with them. Earthlings seems really cool too, right? That one, but I think that one's not coming out for a little while, but I've seen the glimpses of it. It actually looks really cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, just there's a lot of exciting stuff that I see that's about to be coming out. So we're definitely looking to do some esports kind of like live streaming gaming competitions with some of them that I think will be fun.
Nice. Yeah, sounds fun. And what do you love most, would you say, about the NFT space?
The communities for sure. I think that it's the fact that they build such strong communities just from the get go from what they're doing. Like I think that in music can be something bigger. I feel like music doesn't really have they kind of have a community, but it's kind of more of like a I'm an artist and people like love whatever they do. But I feel like with this you can kind of create a whole nother layer um, to this whole collectible aspect and stuff like that. So I really think that that's good. And like I said, most of the ones that I meet, especially on Hedera, they have all of them great communities. They're great people themselves. They want to work on really cool stuff. So yeah, I love that aspect.
Let's unpack that a little bit because I agree. Like whether it's music or any industry or career, it opens up new avenues, right? New dynamics between the artist and fans. Could
Hmm.
you, from your experience, a few nuances that for artists NFTs provide?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about even what the communities, what they are, it's like, it's almost like a fan club, but it's something more. Um, I don't know. It's in a weird way, not more real, but like they're really a part of it when they buy these things. Like so, one of the other artists that work with us, Gianni, so he actually had a bunch of his NFTs, and we do a thing too where we gamify like a lot of different aspects. But every time you get streams for your song, you have like a little record that'll start at like a dirt record, and then it'll level up to grass, paper, and it'll go all the way to like an actual platinum record. So his fans who like got a couple of the NFTs, they actually watch it every single day, and they feel like they're growing with him at the same time because they're like, oh, and they're streaming it to help it grow, and it's like that community aspect of like, oh, when they win, we win.
Mm,
You can put the whole aspect where you share in profits. I usually try to like veer people from like don't do the profit sharing aspect because it's music. Like they should want it because they want it. Like if you had a
mm.
one of one Michael Jackson NFT, whether you made money off the music or not, you still are going to be like, this is crazy. I own this. You know what I mean? So, um, so some people still do it though. I mean, and I get it, both aspects of it, but yeah, I think that there's a lot there that people can kind of like continue to like, come together with on these pieces.
Yeah, it really puts both parties in the same boat, right? On this journey, which is very exciting. And that in and of itself is the foundation for a ton of other different things that can come out of that, right?
100%, yeah, and even working with the other NFT communities that already have their whole setup. Like again, yeah, we're doing some stuff with Angry Penguins and all these other groups, and spoken with a lot of different NFT groups. And like music can kind of intermingle with everybody's stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's just been cool to figure out with these communities and how we can get these artists to kind of figure it out. Because I will say a lot of the artists that I do talk to, they're kind of like, "What is this? Like, how do I do this? Where do I go? All that other kind of stuff." But um, you know, that's kind of a little bit of our job is to help navigate them as well as the community in Hedera. Like once they come in and they meet everybody, it's like, here you go, you're off to the races now. Like they'll get you there. Right?
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. And as CEO of SIKI, what does a typical day look like for you, managing
Um,
everything, or on a day-to-day basis?
Definitely a lot of calls. So we have like basically we have a dev team in the afternoon, then we have a dev team at night. So we have some overseas as well. So that's, pretty hectic within itself. But next month we have a lot of like competitions. We're going to be doing like weekly giveaways in H bar and stuff like that for people. All you got to do is either listen to music or upload music, and you could, we're going to play to some of the gamifications with everything. So it's definitely a lot of like just orchestrating and getting everything kind of lined up so we can keep taking the next step as we continue to grow. But yeah, I'd say that for the most part, it's usually like 13, 14-hour days, but
And do you get any time to actually play music yourself these days?
not so much, unfortunately. Um, the cool thing is a lot of the artists that I've met, like throughout my travels and stuff, I've been able to bring them in and have them do different things. So it's like I've got to reconnect with a lot of different, musicians. Is more of like a, let me hear a lot of your stuff. So spend a lot more time listening to, like I said, every kind of genre of music ever. But so that's been kind of an exciting thing, and maybe will help me figure out how I'm going to write my next album when I'm ready to go. Now that I've got all these different inspirations.
Nice, I love it. And looking into the future, 2024, what excites you the most of what's coming for SIGI, or for the ecosystem at large?
Yeah, I mean, the bull run obviously makes everything way more exciting because it's just there's more activity, there's more, just different things going on that we're like, definitely have some cool plans. Especially with Hedera, we have some cool things that we're launching like again within this next 30 days really. Um, and then there's some things I can't really talk about yet because I want to make sure before I say anything. But there's definitely some cool things that are on the radar that we're like, let's get this going. But what I will say is, there's been like a growing catalog like of music that's actually like really really good. That's even on just Hedera, and like right now our goal is like, okay, we have all this now. Let's start to like market it towards the communities and really showcase this music that's here. That's like, you know, amazing music that like, yeah, some of this stuff could make it, one day. And it's like, oh, this is the first place it was NFT. This is the original version of it. Like, so I'm definitely excited about some of that stuff too.
I love to ask at the end, if there is there a question that I maybe haven't asked, and if so, how would you have answered it?
um, I'm not sure if there's a question you haven't asked. Um, yeah, honestly, I cannot think of one that from the top of my head.
You could drop some alpha instead.
I guess, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is, with the Hedera community stuff up and coming, I really think it's important that we keep pushing that as like a goal for the entire community, because that's what's going to bring the most people, I think, in when they keep meeting everybody here and see how everything kind of comes together. Because I've worked with a lot of different blockchains, and they struggle with figuring out this ecosystem that like self supports it. Like the community really does like a large percentage of the work of keeping everything together. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
they necessarily have to go out of their way to keep it going. So I think more stuff even like this is just like, it's great to see coming out of it. And I think that that's going to help it the most during this bull run coming up.
Yeah, I mean it's something that when I talk with creators, I jump on a lot of calls as well. That community component, like you can never stress it enough, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
you're a small project, a big projects, the ecosystem at large, like that community component is just, like you say, it's the glue, right? That holds everything together.
Absolutely. It's weird. It's like there's the tech behind it, right? That's amazing behind each blockchain. That's good. But really it's like a community. You know what I mean? It's like it's its own country with its own like monetary value of its own system and everything like that. So it's like the stronger that they are and the stronger that everybody wants to support it and rep it, like that's what makes these kind of things last through the bear markets and all that other stuff. And you'll see something shoot up and it'll be like, oh, this thing could never go away. And then as soon as the bear market comes, it's like that's gone. Like, I mean, like, so I think that there's got a really strong, thing coming forward. And I think it's the community is growing more and people are starting to get more and more involved just on their own, which I think is great.
Absolutely. I think that's a very bullish note to finish on, actually. I want to thank you for taking the time to do the interview. And I hope the community, I'm sure they will, enjoy getting personal with you when this goes out into the
Yeah, thanks
world.
for having me. I appreciate it.